One laundromat nets a 35% margin. Another in the same city loses $40,000 a year. Both owners bought into the same pitch, recession-proof passive income. Customers do the labor, cash rolls in, you barely show up. But the hidden economics that separate a thriving store from a failing one begin long before anyone turns on a machine. Laundromat ownership is often sold as the ultimate hands-off business. The promise goes like this: customers do the washing, cash flows in, and the owner barely needs to be present. Brokers and online forums repeat the same talking points: recession-proof, labor-light, and nearly self-sustaining. The storefront, with rows of machines humming and people moving baskets, makes the operation look deceptively simple. To the outside observer, it seems the hard work is done by the customers themselves. This image fuels the belief that laundromats are a safe bet for anyone looking to build wealth without daily management headaches. But simplicity at the front counter hides the real complexity behind the scenes. Many buyers mistake the absence of visible staff for proof that the business runs itself, forgetting that every machine, every lease, and every utility bill demands attention. The question is not whether laundromats can make money, but whether the business model is as bulletproof as the sales pitch suggests, or if it's a localized financial gamble, shaped by risks that most new owners never see coming. The core product in a laundromat isn't detergent or fabric care, it's machine time, sold by the cycle. The business runs on a simple spread, the difference between what it costs to run a machine and what a customer pays for each load. Utilities are the engine behind that spread. A standard 40-pound commercial washer uses about 34 gallons of water per cycle. In many cities, that water costs around 20 cents per wash. Heating the water with gas adds another 48 cents based on current municipal commercial rates. Meanwhile, the typical vend price for a load is about $2. That leaves a gross margin of roughly $1.32 per cycle before factoring in other expenses. But laundromats rarely benefit from true wholesale utility rates. Most are classified as commercial users, which means they pay higher tariffs than manufacturers or industrial plants. The municipal utility system decides the terms, not the owner. This structure creates a hidden dependency. Every dollar earned depends on the gap between rising utility costs and the fixed price of each wash. When that gap narrows through rate hikes or inefficient machines, the entire business model feels the pressure. Every laundromat begins with a financial hurdle that most new owners underestimate. Outfitting a store with new commercial washers means facing prices that routinely land between $5,000 and $15,000 per machine. For a modest 20-machine floor, that is a starting bill of $100,000 to $300,000 before a single load is washed. Most buyers do not pay cash, they sign up for term loans, often with personal guarantees and administrative fees tacked on. Lenders like Alliance or Balboa Capital Structure deals with fixed rates for the first year, then shift to Prime Plus formulas, stretching payments over 5 to 8 years. Amortization schedules keep the pressure on cash flow long after the grand opening. Meanwhile, the landlord's lease becomes the second gatekeeper. Long-term agreements with escalation clauses or triple net terms can turn what looks like location security into a source of risk, especially if property taxes or maintenance costs spike. For many operators, the real exposure is not just in the machines, but in the contract obligations that follow them for a decade or more. A laundromat's fate hinges on the people who live closest to its doors. The customer base isn't spread across an entire city, it is packed tightly within a few blocks, defined by how many renters lack laundry machines at home. In most American neighborhoods, renters make up the core of laundromat demand. According to the Coin Laundry Association's demographic models, about 1/3 of renter households, plus a share of low-income families, drive the majority of wash cycles. The essential calculation is not about citywide averages, but about who lives within a radius of 1 or 2 miles. Trade area density matters more than any broad metro statistic. For a laundromat to thrive, the surrounding area typically needs at least 20,000 residents with renter occupancy above 25%. In some high-performing locations, that figure climbs to 50% or more. The reason is simple. Renters are far less likely to have in-unit washers and dryers, making shared laundry a necessity rather than a choice. This hyperlocal dependence means that a laundromat's revenue can swing dramatically with even minor shifts in neighborhood makeup. If a new apartment building offers in-unit laundry, demand for the local laundromat can drop overnight. The business model, for all its supposed simplicity, is only as strong as the number of nearby households still relying on shared machines. In this way, the real estate and demographic map becomes the true engine of laundromat economics. Gentrification can quietly undermine a laundromat's core business. As neighborhoods attract higher-income residents and developers renovate older buildings, new apartments often include in-unit washers and dryers. This single upgrade can erase a large portion of walk-in demand almost overnight, leaving established stores with shrinking customer pools. The business may still look stable on paper, but the risk is not always visible until foot traffic drops and revenue follows. Traditional laundromats, built to serve dense populations of renters without laundry at home, suddenly find themselves cut off from their base. Operators who recognize this threat have started to adapt. Instead of relying solely on local walk-in customers, many now offer wash and fold pickup and delivery services. By turning the store into a small-scale fulfillment center, owners can reach beyond the immediate neighborhood and tap into regional demand. Digital logistics platforms make it possible to schedule pickups, track orders, and route deliveries efficiently. Companies like Laundromat have built their entire model around this hybrid approach, using technology to extend their revenue footprint far beyond the storefront. For urban laundromats facing demographic turnover, this pivot is not just a growth strategy. It is a lifeline that can keep the business viable when the old playbook no longer works. The illusion of steady profit in laundromat ownership often unravels at the 10-year mark. Commercial washers, the backbone of every store, rarely last beyond a decade of daily use without major failures. When a 20-machine fleet reaches this age, the replacement bill can run to $150,000, a sum that wipes out years of accumulated margin in a single blow. This is not a gradual expense that owners can smooth out month by month. For many, the warning signs start small. A machine goes down, parts become scarce, repairs grow more frequent and expensive. Deferred maintenance becomes a silent liability, with each delay increasing the odds of multiple breakdowns at once. Meanwhile, utility rate hikes and recurring repairs eat into cash flow, even if customer traffic remains stable. Vandalism and theft add another layer of risk, forcing owners to invest in cameras or security upgrades just to protect their revenue. The neglected owner, lulled by years of apparent stability, finds that the real threat is not a bad month or a lost lease. It is the replacement cliff that arrives all at once, demanding capital most never set aside. Two laundromats operating under the same basic business model can land on opposite sides of the financial divide, one thriving, the other bleeding cash. In a well-run urban site, daily machine turns average between 4 and 6. This volume supports a net margin of about 35%, translating to annual profits that can reach 6 figures. These stores benefit from disciplined operations, modern equipment, and a strong match between location and local demand. The numbers reflect a system where each machine works hard, utility costs are managed, and every dollar spent on maintenance or upgrades pays back through consistent customer traffic. Across town, a neglected laundromat tells a different story. Here, aging washers limp through fewer cycles each day. Competition from a nearby operator undercuts prices, while utility rate hikes and deferred repairs eat into already thin margins. The result is a business that can post losses approaching $40,000 a year. Instead of generating passive income, the owner faces mounting bills, unreliable machines, and a shrinking customer base. Even small shocks, a surprise repair, another rate increase, or a new competitor can tip the operation from break-even into steady decline. These outcomes are not random. They are the product of local demographics, capital discipline, and the relentless math of fixed costs versus actual usage. The same industry, with the same machines and the same utility bills, can produce radically different results depending on how each risk is managed. In practice, laundromat ownership is less a guaranteed path to wealth than a highly localized financial wager, one that rewards vigilance and punishes neglect. Today, rising equipment prices and volatile utility rates mean every laundromat owner faces a complex financial puzzle, not a guaranteed stream of passive income. The real risk is not competition, it is misreading the hidden costs. If this changed your view on easy money, subscribe for more deep dives into business realities.